Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. Let's turn on the logo. My camera's a little off today, but that's fine. Come on now. Okay, so in today's session, it's gonna be a little short and sweet one. I'm gonna introduce a tool to you that I kind of played with it a little bit at first, but gonna give you some second impressions now that I've kind of gotten a groove with it. It's called Metahumans by Unreal Engine. And essentially what it is a creator for making photoreal or very lifelike humans that hold different expressions. And it's a tool that I'm going to use to make certain characters in the comic book project that I'm working on. So let's just get right into it. If I move over to the other screen, and the reason why I'm trying to bring this up is the way that humans are generally put into some 3D art renders is, especially in the art viz industry, we kind of use Photoshop to place them in. It just ends up being more photoreal and more direct when it comes to doing that for ArcViz purposes. Although there are some great models out there for humans to place into 3D scenes. Those high detail models and high detail textures tend to be cutting in a little bit into some resources for the computer. But yeah, for as far as a storytelling element goes and for making movies or making video games, this is really a powerful tool. So as you could see, I kind of tried to replicate myself here. I only spent a certain amount of time trying to do that. Obviously, there's a way to get this closer to looking like myself, but we'll get right into it. I think this is really going to be, it's still in beta. It hasn't officially been released, although you could see here I'm using it in my browser, but you can use this in Unreal Engine. So it is sort of a plugin that you can install and use out of the Unreal Engine software. And yeah, I think this is going to be a really useful tool for people out there, for 3D artists, in order to have a starting point for character, even just creating characters to populate their stories for movies and for video games. And this is already widely used in the industry. So I thought making a video introducing this tool and just showing you just how easy it is to use, really, and how responsive it is. Now, your experience may vary if you're using the plugin from your computer, and I'm using it out of Microsoft Edge. I was having some issues doing it from Google Chrome for whatever reason, but I was able to launch it from Microsoft Edge. And you can see here we even have like a lot of hair follicles and wrinkles, really a lot of detail once you get in there. So let's start off. I've already made myself. So in this case, I'm just gonna kind of have some fun with it, kind of go through and do something a bit interesting. If you would like to comment in the chat, I'll give some moments where you can introduce into the chat different decisions that I can make here for making a character. So how it starts off is we have to pick one of these pre-made people to start off with. So the ones that have this warning sign on it says this character uses assets that are currently in development, which will only be displayed at LOD0 and LOD1. So yeah, those are sort of experimental features or features that are still under development and may cause unpredictable results. So we'll try to stay away from those for this situation so I don't run into anything while I'm live streaming here today. I like Kellen. This looks like someone I had envisioned for my story. Kyoko also looks great. Yeah, I think this is going to be a close starting point for a character that I had in mind for the story. So I'll go ahead and hit create selected once you've selected one of these. And it brings you into this interface where I'm able to start modifying his face, his hair, or his body. Now, there's a very cool feature here called blend. So rather than control individual features, which I can get into, in this blend feature, what I could do is actually grab other people. So say I were to grab Brian over here. Say I were to grab I'm not showing who is experimental anymore. I kind of like this guy's mohawk. I'll put him in there. And I'll only do like a curveball, like this older Asian gentleman, Keji, and place him right there. So with 3 people placed into here for the blend tool, what I can now do is actually have his features sort of blend between different people. And we can see if I go into, let's see, how was it that this blend tool worked? I'm trying to click over here. I'm supposed to have a certain, oh, I think I have to continue adding people to blend. So I have to fill in these in-between slots as well. So just kind of go ahead and, oh, I can actually, last time I was only able to do 3 people. So now it seems like I'm actually able to select many more. Ooh, that's not what I meant to do. Back to tab. There we are. Ah, there we go. So with each feature, I can actually blend in between people by selecting the feature here, showing up as I have blend selected, and I have these different people. So let me actually remove those other 3 because it's a bit much. So let's say for the forehead, if I click on this dot on the forehead and I move it over to any one of these 3 points, I can have, you know, I can fully have the character on the right's forehead, or the one on the top, or the one on the left, or the original one that I selected. But I could also kind of fit it somewhere in between, right? So I'm actually going to stay away from those wrinkles that I'm getting over here in this area and go more towards here. It's adding in some freckles even. And I can do the same thing for the eyes. So I actually like having it somewhere in between here. And the eyebrows, that's changing a lot more than just eyebrows. So it not only does, you know, the hair follicles and the skin tone, but it also modifies the bone structure. I kind of like how serious he starts to look over here, although not so serious. So I'm going to bring it somewhere around here. That really becomes a really easy process for sculpting people without even having to do any real work, just using presets set in the software. So I'm doing like an orbit around him by holding right click and moving around. We can do some cheekbone work here. We can modify the ears by blending in between people. It is so responsive. So the way this is working, it's actually running off of computers in the cloud, and it's able to feed back, bring back, you know, the changes that are happening in some server somewhere, and display that for me on the computer, which is really interesting because I think this is the way that we're kind of moving for creating 3D environments and 3D worlds, especially with what NVIDIA has been bringing out. I think a lot of is moving to the cloud. I mean, cloud rendering has been moving there for a while, and NVIDIA released this new system where you can essentially collaborate on a 3D project across different softwares using their plugin. And they demoed a race car sort of animation that demonstrates this. So this is really, really groundbreaking and really shows the potential of real-time rendering to the point where, you know, we're not just rendering, we're actually modeling and modifying. So that's the blend tool. You can kind of select these different people and start blending between their features. So I like where I landed here with this guy. He looks friendly, looks athletic. Yeah, he's got a kind face. So we'll move forward into skin, and we can change, you know, the skin tone here, obviously. So, whoa, that's actually really strange to see happen. I don't know why. It's kind of a shock factor to me. Contrast. So that's weird. If I go all the way to the right, kind of turns purplish. If I go to the left, it's more green. I'll keep that where it was. And the roughness for the skin. So let's really zoom in to see what happens when I modify the roughness. We can see here when I take the roughness down, his face kind of starts to look a bit oily. So that's not what I want. I'll keep that more or less where it was originally as well. And then we can also control freckles, the density of freckles, their size. We'll keep some in there. There's saturation. There's really a large degree of control here. And as you can see, there's presets also on their level of distribution or their aesthetic. Accents. So we can control redness in different areas of the face. So if I wanted redder cheeks, I can add those in. Or if he has he looks kind of sick or turning into a zombie, when I turn it left, he kind of starts turning greenish at the cheeks. But we'll keep those all similar. Maybe turn the cheeks. I like turning the cheeks a bit darker. That looks nice. Then we can go to eyes. We have a bunch of presets here for the eye colors. Oh, nice. This reminds me of that actor. I can't remember his name right now. I like these hazel colors. We'll go for one of those. And we can change the iris style. They actually added a lot from the last time that I was in here. We zoom in a bit more. I'll turn off the blend. There we go. So we can see a bit more clearly here. We can change the shape or the pattern on the eye, which is really crazy. Color balance. Okay, so you can see there we're taking away some color, adding in. Color balance, smoothness, so controlling that gradient. I'm going to keep that nice little dark ring around it. I think that level of detail is nice. Wow, iris size. If I were to zoom out, I can see the effects of the iris size. Keep it on the larger side. I think that makes it a little bit more less uncanny. Cool. So if I take away saturation on the eyeball, that actually turns sort of bluish and hint. I mean, it looks gray, but I guess we just associate gray colored eyes with more blue eyes. But I actually want more or less where we had it, if not a bit more saturated. Limbus darkness. Yeah, so the darkness around the iris there. You can keep that on the lower end, but a bit more than where it was. Sclera. I don't even know what that is, but I'm learning so much about facial terminology here. Okay, so the white area of the eyeballs. Oh, it seems like my video cut out on the stream. Is that right? You let me know in the chat if you're still seeing my screen properly. Something happened on my end. It doesn't look like it's streaming properly anymore. Can you all see my screen still? If you can, let me know. Trying to troubleshoot here. Okay. Apparently still seeing and hearing fine. That's weird. My my streaming software is showing the stream as black, but if you're still seeing, then great. If that changes for those viewers that are on, appreciate having you. Appreciate you giving me the feedback. Let me know if it does cut out in the chat so I can respond appropriately. Okay, so sclera. So the white region in the eyeball. Turn that white, right? Sclera rotation. I guess that if I had some sort of pattern on there, the vascularity, so we can make him look really high or like he got not enough sleep last night. We'll stay away from that. And the vein rotation. So if he did have a lot of that, I could change the pattern. It's almost like I'm turning his eyeball without turning his iris. Really, really trippy. Okay. We'll move on to teeth. So this is another really cool feature. If you saw, like, if I go to eyes, right? He probably opened his eyes quite a bit, maybe. No, but if I go to teeth, he opens his mouth like that. We start to see the wrinkles going on around his mouth. And I can really mess with the position of his teeth here. Wow. The last time I tried this, it did not have this level of specificity to how much you could change a person's facial features. But I love how easy they're making it. I mean, variation in the teeth. I mean, if you can make them really irregular or just perfect denture. Teeth color. Let's give him whiter teeth, huh? Let's make him look like he takes care of himself. And plaque color. So there is some yellowing at the bottom where the teeth meet the gums here. So we could turn that white to make it look like he doesn't have any, or we can make it look like he's a smoker. And then plaque amount. So how much it spreads from the top into the teeth. And there it starts to look like he's a smoker and he drinks a lot of coffee. Jaw open. I guess this is not permanent, but this is more to like look into his mouth and how those things are affecting. So even though I put the teeth to be perfect or no variation on the teeth, it does still give some inconsistency there, which is actually really photorealistic. And there's different styles for the teeth. So we have narrowness. No, this is the different features I can edit. So the receding gums, the narrowness of the teeth, the overbite. Wow, tooth spacing. We already messed with that, I think. All right, I'm not going to get too much into the teeth. We could give them makeup. So there's foundation that we can apply to the different parts of the face. I'm not going to get too into that. We could give them some makeup around the eyes. Some eyeliner. Males don't typically wear makeup, so I don't think I will actually... we can give him some lipstick. I don't think for this character, the way I'm envisioning him, is going to be wearing any makeup. So we'll not deal with that right now. His head. So we can go into the head style. So this I'm actually going to leave open-ended if someone in the chat would like to suggest a hairstyle for this character. There's what they call 360 waves, which I think is what he's got here, the waves in his hair. He's got a buzz cut. We could give him an afro, a long afro, or a short afro. Whoa, it even bounced in. Yeah, let me know what kind of haircut we should give him in the chat. As I'm looking through here, we've got a short pixie. It kind of looks a bit anime-ish. We could also give him, I mean, I guess it's gender neutral here for the hairstyles, but yeah, we could give him long hair up in a bun. There's, oh, I did like the mohawk earlier from the other character. Oof. That is really badass, actually. I really like the mohawk on him. So I don't see anything in the chat. I think I might run with this decision. Eyebrows. So if we get into the eyebrows here, we can style his eyebrows. Maybe something a bit thicker than what we have here. I'm going to zoom out. Actually, yeah, no. I mean, from straight on, this looks a bit strange, but I think that's maybe just because you never like see somebody really straight on like that. From the side, I am liking how this character is looking. It's crazy how the mohawk has this little this little tail. Eyelashes. We can style them or make it custom. I think I'm just gonna pick one here. That looks good. And for the details for the eyelashes, salt and pepper. So we could even add in a color variation here, salt and pepper. So I imagine that'll make it, yeah, he'll have some dark and some, I think my eyelashes are actually like that, like blonde tips. Salt and pepper lightness. Yeah, I like that on him. It kind of goes, it's a nice contrast, or it goes well with the color of the eyes too. Mustache. I'm not liking the mustache he has. I don't think I want any mustache on this character. Yeah, clean shaven looks good. Beard. No mustache and no beard. Oh, well, that's not bad. A little bit of stubble in the bottom area there. That looks unkempt. I do kind of like that on him. Clean shaven was good. Definitely no mustache. But this kind of goes well with the mohawk. Yeah. All right. Very likable character is what I'm going for. Best friend to the main character, which is gonna sort of look like me, but not in the beginning of the story. Proportions. We'll go here short. I mean, there's no previews on these. Whoa! Looks like he was. Now we do have previews. So his body's changing quite a bit here. I kind of want to just go back to the default I had him on. He's kind of looking a bit too skinny there, making him a bit more muscular. And we can change the head scale. So you know, that's really funny actually. His head is way too big for his body here, so we can change that proportion too. That's interesting because you don't necessarily can have to do photoreal characters this way. You know, you could kind of do all the Lord of the Rings characters here, like the dwarves and the elves, and you can probably get away with doing a lot of fantastical sort of variations here as well. Yeah, no, let's make him average height, make him a bit taller than short. And now we can select a different style. So not that many options for clothing is one thing that I noticed previously. I think this sweater is looking actually really good for him. We can make it, we can change the color here. The responsiveness on it still blows my mind how quickly I'm able to just go through and create these different variations. I'm gonna give him sort of like a tannish orange sweatshirt color, something very, there we go, nice. And maybe go a bit darker, just a bit darker, or white. No, the white looks good. Yeah. All right, details. Primary fabric, I'm not able to modify that. I think I already went through the details. Horizontal shift. All these seem to be locked currently for whatever reason. Maybe because I selected a preset. Or maybe because of the sweater that it is. Or because they're still working on the features. But man, this has got some knitting going on and everything. Cool. Graphic. Do I want to give him a graphic? I like the clean look he's got at the moment. I think I'm going to stay away from putting in a graphic. I'm not able to put a graphic on this one. So this sweater doesn't take it. I did put one on the hoodie of the character that looks like me. So for pants, we'll go with, yeah, something sporty, but not like that. Something that can go with the top. I'm gonna give him and keep him in his underwear. Definitely not shorts. Yeah, some denim. So it's like two variations on jeans. I like the slicker look of these jeans. And we'll just make this like a gray. So very little saturation, much darker. Second, oops, clicked out of the jeans. No, the chinos look better. Yeah, I like the chinos. I wish they extended a bit more. Maybe that's something I can edit. I like that gray tone. That dark brown is actually, as a secondary color, I'm not sure if it's being applied, but I like how this is looking. Cool. Details. Again, I'm not able to, oh no, yeah. So I guess the details have to do with the fabric that I choose. So I can put a fabric pattern on here. Let's see. I like the, that's not bad. Something that stylistically can go with the sweater. So not checkered, not cats. Stripes? No. That's a bit too northeastern. I don't know. Maybe I can change kind of like that. Maybe I could change the intensity of it. So yeah, if I go here and I change the primary color and make it darker, there we are. It's like a bit more subtle. I like that. You still see the pattern, but you know, yeah, I like that. It has a bit of detail, a bit of texture. It's not overwhelming, like just white. But yeah, besides putting a pattern, it doesn't seem like I'm able to modify it beyond that. And I can add a secondary fabric, but I feel like that would be too much. No, it actually doesn't let me add a secondary fabric, not to these pants. And again, no graphic. So finally, we moved from bottom to top. The shoes, these aren't bad. They do kind of go with the rest of the outfit, if not these. We have a bit too, I think we'll keep it there. I like the business casual look of them. And we'll make these also sort of a dark gray, desaturated. Yeah, a bit lighter there. And we'll bring in that tan from the sweater as well. We have a bit more saturated than that. Nice. He's got style. Okay. Details here for the shoes. I can not add patterns to this shoe, and I will not add a graphic either. It's not letting me, which is strange. I guess there's only certain articles of clothing that you can modify in that way. Okay, so that's the fully customizable stuff. If you hadn't realized, you have some controls over here on the right-hand side. So I could actually use numbers to go through everything again. So 1 for the face camera, 2 for the body, 3 for the torso, 4 for legs, feet, and the far out camera to see the overall work. Nice. We can pan or orbit with the middle mouse button as I have been, and orbit with the right mouse button. Reset lights and so on and so forth. Okay. Now this is a part that's pretty interesting. I can actually see how this character could be rigged by doing different things on here. So right now I have him on idle, but I can give him different facial expressions to kind of see how the face would look. So for example, if I have him look happy. Yeah. So he's actually moving around in real time, laughing. This is so nuts. Because not only is he doing this, but I could... Oh, no. It looks like if I edit him, he stops. He goes back to serious. But then I can play that that animation again and see how those changes start changing the facial features. Yeah, real friendly guy. Don't plan on seeing him angry, but I don't think you do want to make him angry. He looks offended more than anything. Amazed. It's so uncanny. It's so weird to see. Sort of a digital character take on this. Body poses. Artistic. We got emotional. Oh no. Why is this so funny? Fashion. Yeah, I guess that's fashion. Yeah, good for a good pose there for a magazine, I guess. Fight. We got him here throwing a punch. Cool. Wow. Facial poses. Can he be punching and happy? No. You can just have him normal there, but with changing his facial expression. This is really weird. Just the open mouth. Surprised face. Body ROM. So face ROM. Here we have the animation turning. So they're more ROM is more like a technical loop, so it'll actually go through a bunch of different facial expressions, a bunch of different emotions, so you can sort of see in one sequence, you know, how the character would emote in different situations. We have body ROM, so same thing. We can kind of see him move around. It's like, whoa, I'm real. All right. Few stretches there. And Not sure how these differentiate. I guess as these are just more loops over here on the right. We can have them be surprised or go through the different body positions. All right. We can also change the render quality. So right now we've had them at medium this whole time. So if I take it to high, whoa, we see the hair and the hair and the skin detail there changed pretty drastically between medium and high. And if we go epic, yeah, again, I think it's mostly just the hair that messes with. If I go back to medium, I mean, I'm actually honestly not really even noticing that big a difference between medium and epic quality. It just looks epic the whole time. Hide hair, whoa. Okay. Toggle clay material. Oh, so we can really, get to see the detail here on the model by taking away all the textures. So he's got pores. He's got pores all over. I guess the teeth isn't affected by that. That's kind of weird. And let's bring all that back. Nice. Hotkey reference. I mean, we can hide that at this point. Camera. So we can also change the camera up here besides the hotkeys. I think number 6 moved far away. We got him in a studio setting, so we can also see him in different lighting conditions. So in the studio, we can see him outdoors. He's kind of like on some kind of rooftop. Nice. This is so crazy to me. You don't even have to know how to model characters anymore. This is like a Matrix type. Underpass at night. Tungsten light. So kind of like in a warm setting. Cool light or moonlight. Wow. And fireside. So like underlit a little bit. Split? Oh, that's actually useful. The split view. Because you could see how it would look if you lit one side of his face. It really gives a good idea of how his profile looks from a front view. That's actually really useful. Okay. So, how do I get him out of here and into another software, right? That's the real question. So, I'll go over here. No, that's my browser settings. So if I go back into my Metahumans, I'll now see him join the entourage along with the original one I had created. Waiting for that to load. That might have to be a part of a different video because I'm suspecting that since this is in beta, I'm not sure if I'm actually able to export out of the browser. I might have to have the plugin set up in Epic or an Unreal Engine in order to kind of have him present in a 3D software that I can then either use in Unreal Engine or move him over to another piece of software. So let's see here. I think I ended up import, export. Yeah, let's export him. Okay. What do I want to do with him? I want to save him. Let's see where he went. Uh-oh. MHBD file. I have no idea what that is. Let's do two things. I'll open Blender and I'll open Unreal. See which one I can bring him into. I've never seen that file type before. MHBD. It sounds specific to Metahuman. Yeah. That didn't give me any options for exporting. It just exported as a Metahuman. So I probably will need the Metahuman plugin. So in order to use Unreal and in order to try out the plugin for Unreal as well, since we're going through this process, we gotta install Epic Games, which, yes, it's a games launcher. You can play video games out of here, but it's also the software that we need to install Unreal Engine and where we get all our assets for Unreal Engine as well. Give that a second to load. Maybe there's I guess while I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna do a bit of research and see if does Metahuman have a Blender plugin? Download our new Blender add-ons. Okay. We recently released 2 add-ons that greatly streamline the workflow between moving assets between Blender and Unreal, which you can see in the brief video below. Okay. So one is Rigify, for you to add animations onto your characters in Blender. And it seems like, yeah, the other one is probably, nope, I'm not going to get into videos right now. In conjunction to the Unreal Engine to Rigify feature, which allows Blender users to import any character from Unreal Engine and have access to Rigify animation controls. This allows you to more easily animate characters within Blender to the Unreal workflow. This not only applies to bipedal character, but quadrupeds. Cool. And besides Rigify, I imagine that the other one is just linking assets, right? So not only can we have animations or rigs for characters move between the 2 softwares, but we'll be able to link these different models together, or link different assets from Blender into Unreal and vice versa. So that is something I think is going to be worthy of another session on how to connect these two and be able to use this these features. Yeah, otherwise, if I start going down a loophole right now of getting this model into Unreal, we'll be here all night. But yeah, so I downloaded the Metahuman. I'll be able to bring that into Epic, and we'll see how that transfers over with these experimental plugins from Unreal in order to link Unreal and Blender, which is really exciting for me because I've put in a lot of time learning Blender recently, and Blender has made some great strides. And I do know that creating assets in Blender seems to be the more preferred option nowadays than creating assets or in Unreal. Unreal is more of like a platform where you bring all these assets together to create virtual worlds and renders. And since I'm here, I will also export my own character so that next time we'll have these 2 characters in a virtual scene. And yeah, thanks for watching. This is, I mean, last time I was already blown away by how this worked. And since then, they've added a lot of features. So I hope you found this video helpful. It's, I see someone just joined. You can watch the recap recording on the channel where I went over the Metahuman tool basically. And these are the 2 characters that I have so far done for my story. So the car that I did on my own, or from scratch rather, is going to take me a lot more time than making these characters, which I'm very relieved because I haven't made a character before. And for me to make this efficiently, I much rather use the tool like this than learn how to sculpt people. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's in beta. You got to sign up in order to be able to use it and then get approved. But you don't even need a beast of a computer to do this. As you can see, you can do this straight out of your browser. So really exciting tool. Let me know in the comments when you use it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Yes, so thank you, EM. It is amazing. And they do have light reflecting from their eyes. So it is a built-in feature. This is running off of Unreal Engine, which has very photoreal, it's not fully photorealistic. So what we would call is like ray tracing has yielded the most photorealistic results. And opposed from ray tracing, we've known real-time rendering. And real-time rendering is usually faking a lot of these effects. But the hardware and the software advances that we're seeing in these things is just mind-boggling how quickly this technology is advancing. So yes, this is actually how Unreal Engine handles light. There's also Lumen, which is a light system that's been recently introduced into Unreal, which fakes light effects. And when I say fake, it's like ray tracing would shoot light and bounce it in a scene the same way light behaves in real life. And they've basically found a shortcut. Rather than doing that system, which sort of is very taxing on hardware, they found a way to achieve those same results by cheating, basically, which is amazing. So yeah, this is a built-in system. This is how Unreal Render works. And somewhere there's some computers running Unreal Engine and running this interface in order to create these characters in their own software. So truly, truly mind-boggling and amazing. So yeah, that'll be it. Have a great night, everyone. I'll see you in the next session. Thanks for tuning in. See ya. I'm trying to cut out here, but my mouse stopped working in the middle of this whole situation. So I'm just going to ramble on rather than be awkwardly sitting here. There we go. I'm cutting out.